It has been a rough night for me tonight. Nothing bad happened. Uh, if anything, it was all my own doing. So earlier tonight, I was doing the dishes, and my mind just went to some dark places. Some very dark places that, are quite common for me, sadly. And it's like, damn, this really is no way to live. But, like, what choice do I really have? And, well, not gonna lie, I've kind of just been spiraling the entire night. I do need to get this recorded, of course. What better way to see if I succeed with the bomb arrow or not? Indeed I do. Anyways. Yeah, so it's been a rough night for me. Nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened, too. It was completely unprompted. It just happened. I'm just doing my own stuff. And my mind just went to those kind of dark places. And I started to think to myself, too. Maybe all of the games, the shows, the movies I watch, maybe that's my drug. Maybe those are kind of like a drug to me, because when I indulge in all of that, I don't think about this stuff. It takes my mind off of everything else. I don't have to think anymore. I just enjoy the moment. But, the moment I don't have that kind of stimulation, my mind just wanders into these pretty dark places that, it's just no way to live. Maybe some antidepressants would help me out. Anyway, so maybe I should elaborate more. So today was a pretty slow day. So because there's not much for me to do, I was in front of my screens all day. Computer screen, phone screen, shiny hunting on my Switch all day. And when you are in front of screens the entire day, you start to feel a little off. You start to feel like maybe I kind of overdid it. So, during dinner and as I was doing the dishes, I decided, you know what? No attention span destroying stimulations. I'm going to put my phone down. I'm just going to take a break from all the screens. I'm just going to eat dinner. I'm going to wash dishes in silence. And, well, without those stimulations, that's how my mind works. When I have nothing to do but just think for myself, my mind just kind of goes to these, like, sad things. Sad and dark things that is not normal. But I don't know how to change this. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if I can be fixed like this. I mean, it's not the first time you've heard me in the past kind of just lose it. But what can I really do, right? I kind of have no choice but to just live like this. And you know what is going to help me? Yeah, totally gonna help me. Yeah, just totally gonna help me. I have 96 slides in front of me, the longest one yet. Tonight I was actually debating. I was just thinking to myself, I don't really feel like going over the schoolwork today. Maybe today I'll just find something to talk about. But I don't. I don't have anything to talk about. Not at all. Absolutely nothing. Nothing's happening in my life. Nothing exciting, nothing new. And if I'm not going to read my school material, then I have nothing to go on about. I would just ramble about random things. Like there's just nothing for me to discuss. Nothing for me to go over. Nothing for me to talk about. How sad is that? I've come to just rely on school material to post-commentate. Yeah, my life is a mess. There I go again, thinking negatively, but like, how else am I supposed to? There's nothing positive in my life right now. I don't want to go so far as to say I don't have any reason to feel happy these days, or at all in life, but yeah, maybe that's going a bit far. Oh my, there's a lot of material here. Well, gotta get started. I've also, not gonna lie, been slacking on school for a bit now, because I haven't really been keeping up with like my assignment due dates. Yeah, like, not like there was much motivation to begin with, but I kind of have just lost all motivation. But I did pay like $350 to do this course, so I may as well see it through to the end. I don't want to do this. Not a whole lot I want to do anymore these days. But I am recording, right? Okay, good. I am. Okay. So, let me take a sip. Alright, traps. Traps provide a seal against sewer gases getting back into the house by keeping some of the wastewater in the trap. Traps are designed to be scouring, and its design is based on the speed of water. We've talked a little about traps already. Traps are designed to prevent sewer odors from entering the home through the plumbing fixtures. The seal in the trap is provided by the wastewater. Every time we use a fixture, we flush out the water that's forming the trap seal and replace it with new water. Oh, by the way, I'm no longer sick anymore, so that's good. Don't you just hate being sick? You know, it's actually scheduled to, or rather, forecasted to snow again tomorrow. Every time we think it's warm enough for all the snow to start melting, it just gets cold and starts snowing again. I see tomorrow, let me just pull up the forecast. I see tomorrow, oh my. Let's see, the forecast is saying 7 a.m., 50% chance of snow. But then, until 9. Let's see, 8 a.m., 75%. 8 a.m., 80%. And then from 10 a.m. all the way to 1 p.m., quite a high chance of rain. Lovely. Anyways, traps are carefully engineered systems. They are designed to be self-scouring so that they don't collect debris, yet retain water to form a seal. Speed matters. The velocity with which... Jesus, that's a lot of W's. The velocity with which waste moves through a trap is important. If it's too fast, the trap will siphon. If it's too slow, solids will tend to get deposited in the bottom of the trap. It's easy to see why people shouldn't try to make their own traps out of piping and fittings. Okay, traps can lose their seal in 6 different ways. 1. Direct siphonage, if a vent is not provided. 2. Indirect siphonage, where one plumbing can pull air from another fixture and water is pushed out of the trap. This is common in multi-story houses where the plumbing from upper stories can push water out of a trap. 3. Back pressure. When air is pushed ahead of the waste, it can sometimes push the water in the trap. 4. Evaporation. This is common on floor drains. 5. Capillary action. Moisture is drawn out of a trap by foreign material hung in a trap. And 6. Wind effect. On small traps, high winds can fluctuate the pressure... Oh, end of sentence. The smaller text sentence at the bottom just says copyright Carson Dunlap and Associates, all rights reserved. Anyway, so literally the next things I'm about to read just go over this in more detail. Alright, direct siphonage. 1. Traps can lose their seals by direct siphonage. We've talked about this. It's the siphonage that occurs if we don't have a vent just downstream of a trap. There are other ways traps can lose their seals. Alright, 2. Indirect siphonage. A fixture on the second floor can cause a fixture on the first floor to siphon. The liquid falling through the stack can draw in air from the trap arm downstream of a first floor trap. As this air is pulled into the stack, the air pressure on the fixture side of the trap is greater than the pressure in the trap arm. Atmospheric pressure pushes the water out of the trap, and the seal is lost. This is called indirect siphonage. It's because of indirect siphonage that plumbing fixtures on the first floor are not allowed to be wet vented by the soil stack from fixtures on the second floor. A separate vent is required for each floor level. Alright, 3. Back pressure is caused by air being pushed ahead of a slug of water. The back pressure can sometimes push through the water in the trap back out into the fixture, allowing sewer gases to enter the house. This can happen on a multi-story house with a slug, bracket, mix of solid and liquid, from the top floor level fixtures, falling through a stack and pushing air up through the traps on lower fixtures. Separate venting kind of threw me off. I thought the E at the end of separate has an accent, but no, that's just something on the computer screen. Separate venting of lower level fixtures prevents this back pressure from going through the trap and allows the positive air pressure to escape through the vent. This is another reason why wet venting is not permitted from one floor to the next. Four, evaporation. The seal at traps can be lost due to evaporation. This is common on floor drains and other fixtures which are not used regularly. You know how sometimes if you don't use a toilet for like weeks to months, some of the water starts to be lost? But, you know, I've had it to where my toilet wasn't used for like 2 weeks because I was on a trip, and when I got back, there was still water in the toilet. So imagine how long it needs to just sit there for evaporation to get rid of all of it. 5. Capillary action is a less common method by which traps lose their seal. Foreign materials such as a combination of hair, lint, and soap film gets hung up in a trap and extends over the crown weir of the trap. In much the same way that paper towel will draw liquid up off a countertop, the hair and or lint, for example, will draw the moisture out of the trap up over the crown weir. The water will either evaporate out of the hair or will run down the trap arm and into the drainage system. Eventually, the seal will be lost. And 6. Wind effects. When the trap seal is very small, bracket less than 1 1/2 inches, the pressure of wind blowing over the top of the vent stack can cause water levels to fluctuate in the traps. As the water level moves up and down, water will be spilled over the weir of the trap. Eventually enough water may be spilled over that the trap seal is lost. Wind effect and evaporation and capillary action, for example, may work together to defeat trap seals. Running traps were common on older homes. These are typically in the front lawn and prevent sewer gases from entering the house. This also provided access for cleaning of the system vented the air in the building drain, maintaining a steady waste velocity, prevented possible siphoning. New homes don't have running traps. Running traps are traps located in the drainage piping that are not directly connected with the fixture. Many older homes had running traps in the building sewer, typically in the front lawn. These traps were designed to prevent sewer gases from entering the house. Modern homes do not have running traps since they were found to be unnecessary once effective venting systems were designed. On many of the older running traps in front lawns, vent/cleanout pipes were extended up above the lawn surface. The functions included the following. 1. Access for cleaning of the system. 2. These openings, which are... let me try that again. 2. These openings, which were before, bracket upstream of, the trap, were also vented so that air in the building drain and sewer could be pushed out of the pipe ahead of the waste. This maintained the waste velocity through the running trap. 3. This was also a fresh air inlet so that the waste flowed through the sewer pipe. Air entered to satisfy the siphon that would otherwise develop between the fixture traps and the building trap. In new construction, when building traps were required, they are usually located inside the building. They usually have a cleanout on the upstream side of the trap and a separate cleanout for the building sewer downstream of the trap. They may also have a fresh air inlet pipe upstream of the trap. Building trap older installation. On many of the older running traps in front lawns, vent/cleanout pipes were extended up above the lawn surface. I don't feel like doing this anymore. But what else am I going to talk about? I got nothing else to go over. In new construction, these are located inside the building and they have a clean out upstream of the pipe. They may also be a fresh air inlet upstream of the trap. I did also wake up slightly early this morning to take care of Sky. You know, let him out, feed him. That damn dog wakes up so early all the time just to be fed. You know, Billy and Toby, they never woke up early. They woke up around the time we did. Then again, when they were still around, we still had school, my sister and I. So say we woke up at like 8 in the morning to get ready for school, we would feed them then. So, you know what, looking back, doesn't seem like a lot's different. But now that I don't need to wake up at like 7 or 8 for school anymore, yeah, or rather, he just wakes up way too early. Anyways, breather vent upstream of a trap in older houses with combination sewer systems. This may be removed when the piping collapses or gets clogged. Alright, here's a picture. That previous slide was a picture too. Two clean out caps. You can see the flooring was at one point broken up. This house was probably on a septic before. Alright, so now we move on to traps, problems. Missing, wrong type, leak, double trapping, splitting, rusted or damaged, freezing. Actually, there's more. Tailpiece too long, trap arm too long, trap size, trap primer problems, non-standard shape, no clean out. Alright. Missing. Except toilets, every fixture should have a trap. Look for standing water in traps. Wrong type. S traps, drum traps, bell traps, and crown vented traps are usually not permitted. These can be siphoning. Yeah, I read that right. These can be siphoning, get obstructed, or are not self-scouring. Leaks. Traps will not function properly and water damage may be caused. See next page for illustrations of different traps. Alright, missing trap. Missing! Every fixture should be provided with a trap except for a toilet. Causes. This is an installation issue. Implications. An unhealthy environment in the house will result it should say in. But if sewer gases find their way into the house. Actually, maybe that's right. An unhealthy environment in the house will result if sewer gases find their way into the house. Nope, actually that sentence is correct. I don't know what I was spewing. Causes. This is an installation. I already read that. Strategy. Where you can see below fixture, look for trap. If you can't see below the fixture, look down the fixture drain. You should see standing water. You can also use your nose to search for sewer odors. Here's a picture here. No trap. Wow, did the mic pick that up? I don't know, maybe the game audio obscured that. Maybe it did pick it up, but it was so quiet you can't hear it over the game audio. Alright, wrong type. Residential traps should be a P type. S traps, drum traps, bell traps, and crown vented traps are usually not permitted. Causes. The presence of these traps is an installation issue. Implications. The implication of an S trap is siphoning. The implication of a crown vented trap is obstruction of the vent and, ultimately, siphoning. Bell traps are unreliable and drum traps are not self-scouring. They tend to accumulate solids. Strategy. Look for P traps. Recommend that other types of traps be replaced or closely monitored for sewer odors or clogging. Alright, illegal traps. Pretty much showing a diagram of the four damned just now. Bell traps are unreliable and drum traps are not self-scouring. Crown vented trap can have obstructed vent causing siphoning. I kind of feel like just going to bed. I don't really want to do anything else. Leaks. A rather unconventional repair method. Leaks. Leaks are common at traps. Causes. Leaks may occur because the trap is rusted or worn through. The connections are not watertight. The trap has been mechanically damaged or frozen and split. The trap has been unsuccessfully repaired. Implications. Obviously, waste leaking into the home is a health issue and a water damage issue. Strategy. When you are operating each plumbing fixture, look below if possible, and make sure the trap is not leaking. Many inspectors fill the basin and pull the plug rather than simply run water through. Their thinking is that they will ensure that the tailpiece, trap, and trap arm are completely flooded. Some leaks only show up when these components are flooded. Evidence of leakage. You can also watch for evidence of leakage, including staining or streaking on the trap, rusting on clean-out plugs, buckets or trays below the trap, water damage on the floor, finishes or structural members below the trap. Alright, double traps. Double trapping sounds like a good idea, but it's not. this isn't causes. This is an installation issue. Implications. The implication of double trapping is clogging of the trap. We mentioned earlier that the speed at which the waste moves through the trap is important. If we have double trapping, the velocity coming into the second... Oh, I heard some sounds. I'm like, what the hell is that? That's my sister outside. If we have double trapping, the velocity coming into the second trap will be reduced, and solids are more likely to collect and clog the second trap. Strategy. Watch for double trapping. A common spot for double trapping is under double sinks in kitchens, laundry areas, or bathrooms. This can occur elsewhere in the house as well, but may be more difficult to detect. Split, rusted, or damaged. In some cases, you won't be able to run the water and find the leaks. In other cases, there won't be any apparent leakage, but you can see obvious weakness in the trap. Causes. Split, rusted, or damaged traps are all a result of freezing, corrosion of metals, mechanical impact, building settlement or heaving, abrasive effect of water over time. Implications. Trap leakage is the risk here. Strategy. Look at the trap for evidence of splitting, rusting, or damage. A mirror and a flashlight are helpful. Looking at just the front of the trap doesn't give you the whole picture, obviously. Freezing. Traps in cold areas are susceptible to freezing. In most cases, traps will be in heated areas, but traps in bathrooms above unheated garages or crawl spaces, for example, can be vulnerable. Causes. This is a building arrangement issue and may be an installation issue. Implications. A freezing trap will split and leakage will result. Strategy. Where plumbing fixtures are close to cold areas, think about the possibility of freezing traps. Pay particular attention to shower and bathtubs, for example, which typically have their drains and traps below the floor level. This can also be an issue on island sinks, where in some jurisdictions it's common to drop the trap below the floor level. Alright, tailpiece too long, or fixture outlet pipe. The vertical and or horizontal distance between the fixture and the trap is important. We talked earlier about maintaining adequate waste velocity through the trap. Some codes call for this distance to be a maximum of 24 inches, bracket 36 inches in Canada. Causes. The cause of an excessively long fixture outlet pipe, bracket tailpiece, is an installation issue. Implications. The implications are siphoning of the trap if the tailpiece is vertical, or clogging of the trap if the tailpiece is horizontal. Strategy. If you can get a look, check to see how far the trap is from the fixture. Depending on your jurisdiction, bracket you'll have to check, it should be no more than 24 or 36 inches. Venting on island sink, bracket below floor trap permitted. If local codes permit long, i.e. 36 inches, tailpieces, an island sink can be vented relatively easily by installing the trap below floor level. An important difference. The 24-inch versus 36-inch length rules become important when we're talking about island sinks in kitchens, for example. It's tough to run a vent pipe for an island sink. The vent pipe should be close to the downstream side of the trap, but most people don't want a vent pipe running up through the middle of the kitchen. If the trap can go below the floor and the space below is accessible, a vent can come off the trap and run above the drain line along the underside of the floor level over to a wall. The vent can then run up the wall in a conventional fashion. While this is not an ideal arrangement, it is better than the loop vent or circuit vent arrangement, which is the alternative if you can't drop the trap below the floor. We'll talk about this loop or circuit venting later. Here's a picture of a below floor trap. You know, last night I woke up in the middle of the night with a cold sweat. Yeah. Don't you just hate when that happens? It's not even like having a nightmare or anything. I just woke up because it was too hot. And it got so hot that I just started sweating in my sleep to the point I woke up. Loop vent or circuit vent for an island sink. If the code allowable tailpiece length does not permit the trap to be located below the floor, a loop or circuit vent arrangement will have to be provided. Loop vents are an alternative if you can't droop the trap below the floor. Trap arm too long or too short. So trap arm diameter in inches to maximum trap arm length in feet. So 1 1/4 is 5. So 1 1/4 trap arm, 1 1/4 trap arm diameter in inches is 5. Is maximum trap arm length in feet 5. Oh my god. So yeah, 1 1/4 is 5, 1 1/2 is 6, 2 is 8, and 3 is 12. Got it? Good. Proper vent location relative to trap, and a whole bunch of numbers here that I'm not even gonna read out loud. Anyways, let's see. Trap terminology. Trap primer problems. Trap primers are typically required for infrequently used traps such as those on floor drains. With a primer, the water in the trap will eventually evaporate and the seal will be lost. Sewer gases will back up into the house. Minimum trap seal depth. Different jurisdictions have minimum trap seal depths. A 1.5 inch depth is required for trap seals in some areas. Others call for a trap seal of not less than 2 inches and not more than 4 inches. Trap primers typically consist of a 3/8 inch diameter plastic tube that connects to a fixture that is regularly used. Some primers... Wait, there's no "some" there. Primers can be supplied from toilets, (at the tank or flush bend), or faucets from laundry tubs. For example, every time the faucet is used or the toilet is flushed, water will be added to the trap, ensuring that the water will not evaporate. This maintains the seal. Causes. There may be no trap primer because it was not required when the property was built, or because it was inadvertently omitted. Implications. Sewer odors may enter the house if the seal is lost on the floor drain trap. Strategy. Check to see if there is water in the floor drain. If you remove the grate on the floor drain, you can usually see the trap primer entering the side wall of the drain above the water level in the trap. You can sometimes also see the piping leading from the fixture to the floor drain. I know you're hearing a lot of sniffles, but I swear I'm not sick. I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I don't have this many sniffles throughout the day. The primer may be flooded if the floor drain backs up. This could form a cross connection. Trap primers need an air gap, bracket ending 1 inch above the top of the floor drain, or need a backflow prevention device. Except in new construction, we would usually not make an issue out of the absence of a trap primer. You can accomplish the same thing by pouring a bucket of water down the trap whenever the seal is lost. You'll notice that the seal is lost by the odors coming up through the drain. Some people use a layer of mineral oil to slow down the evaporation of the water from the trap in the floor drain. This only works if you remember to put more mineral oil in every time water flows through the trap. Clogged traps cause poor type, shape, or size. Double trapping, obstructions. Implications can cause poor drainage. Strategy can check fixtures drainage. Basins usually drain in 15 to 25 seconds. Kitchen sinks drain in 30 to 60 seconds. Standard tubs drain in 2 to 5 minutes. Non-standard material. Non-standard shape or material. We talked about traps being engineered systems. Their shape is critical and are so smooth inside the trap walls. Homemade traps, or traps made from different material than those which are approved, are usually not successful. Their depth of seal may be appropriate, but they won't maintain the proper velocity and self-scouring effect. Cause. This is an installation issue. Implications. The trap is not likely to perform well and is more likely to clog or siphon. Strategy. Whenever you use a trap that does not have the characteristic P shape, you should note it as a questionable performer. Watch also for either a cleanout plug or slip joints that allow the trap to be removed for cleaning. Alright, here's a picture. Homemade job. Sure! Homemade job, period. Sure! Exclamation point. Double trap doesn't work. Double trapping sounds like a good idea, but it's not. It will slow down the velocity of the water and could result in clogging if solids are unable to be washed away. Another picture. Sorry, I keep moving my headset. This kitchen sink has a double trap. The trap should be located for the drain further downstream. In this case, it should be on the. In this case, it should be the one to the left. This should also be corrected. Here's another picture. Broken cast iron P trap. Another picture. Disconnected drain line on kitchen sink. Another picture. No trap, just a tube. Why is there... This picture has a stuffed squirrel. Like a squirrel plush. Or is that a chipmunk? No P-trap. Price tag on pipes are never a good sign. Yeah, that's, Oh yeah, that is in the picture. The pipes do have price tags on them.
Mipha's grace is ready.
Another picture. Extended S-trap. Alright, here's a picture. Case study number 2. S-trap. Component. Wait, I almost said S-link. Sink or bath drain. Condition. S-trap. Implication. Siphoning. Recommendation. Closely monitor for sewer odor or clogging, or recommend that another type of trap to be used if necessary. Another S-trap connection with another diagram, or not diagram, another picture. And it seems like we've moved on to the next portion. We're now at slide 40 of 96. Not even halfway there yet. Alright, floor drains. Conditions. Floor drains protect the house from water damage. Alright, and here's just a list. Missing, poor location, backup, great missing, no trap, downspout connection upstream of trap, no primer. Last item, no primer was discussed previously. Alright, floor drain, missing. Cause, installation issue. Implication, no place for water to go in case of flood. Strategy, look for drain and recommend that it be located or added if missing. Doesn't sound to me like adding a drain into the floor is an easy thing to do. Some older, bracket very old, houses do not have floor drains. Look for evidence of backup water marks around the floor areas. Alright, poor location. Causes, insulation issue, of course. Implication, water will drain finishes before reaching drain. No, that's not what that says. Water will damage finishes before reaching drain. Strategy, locate drain and verify that it is in the low spot. Look to see what the drain is approximately at... No, that doesn't say what. Look to see that the drain is approximately at the low point of the floor. If the house is multi-level, make sure the lowest level has a floor drain. Backup valve. Backup. Drains may back up for a number of reasons. Cause. Floor drain backup may be the result of overloaded storm sewers at the street, an obstructed or broken storm sewer for the house, a clogged trap. Implications. If the floor drain backs up, the house may flood. Strategy. Look for evidence of the floor drain backing up. Watermarks around the floor cause what? Watermarks around the floor close to the drain are one indication. In areas where municipal storm sewers are likely to back up, backwater valves are sometimes provided just downstream of the floor drain trap. This is a type of check valve designed to protect the home against sewer backup. In most cases, you won't know whether one has been provided. In some cases, you can see a backflow prevention device just below the floor drain grate. The floor drain grate. This may be a clue that you should be looking for evidence of prior flooding. Most people do not put these in as a preventive measure. They only get installed after there has been a problem. Alright, grate missing. Causes. Never provided or lost. Rusted out. Implication. Obstruction. Safety. Strategy. Recommend one be added. Wow, thanks a lot. Alright, floor drain, no trap. Cause, installation issue. Implication, sewer odor. Strategy, look for water in trap. Strategy. When you look down the floor drain, you should see standing water indicating that there is a trap that is filled. If you see no water, there may be either no trap, or there may be a trap that has had its water evaporated. The trap may also be cracked or broken so it won't hold water. If you look down and see no water, you should be smelling for sewer odor and recommending further investigation. Some home inspectors will dump a bucket of water down the drain to determine if the trap water has simply evaporated. This goes beyond common standards, but is easy to do. Still so much runtime left. Downspout connection upstream of trap. This is a common arrangement in old houses with combination sewers. In modern construction, most areas have separate sewers in the street for storm and sanitary water. Many old communities had a combination system. Downspout leaders carry roof runoff from the gutters under the house floor, discharging into the floor drain above, bracket before, the trap. This is an ordinary building arrangement. This is an ordinary building arrangement. The downspouts running into the floor drains upstream of the trap can cause a cool draft coming into the home. The downspouts carry leaves, twigs, and other debris from the outdoor that may clog the floor drain trap. You should find out whether you are in an area where sewers are combination or separate from storm and sanitary. Where you have combination sewers and downspouts that go below grade, you might anticipate that downspouts will drain into floor drains. If you remove the grate, you can sometimes see the downspout connecting into the side of the drain itself. In cold weather, you can often feel a cool breeze coming up through the drain. Your first impression may be that the water in the trap evaporated and sewer gases are coming back up through the sewer system. Don't get fooled. This air may simply be coming down the downspout and into the house. While this air will be cool, it should not have the characteristic sewer odor. Okay, seems like we're heading into the next section, and I see this one is a big slide with lots to read. Alright, venting system. Venting system have three main functions. 1. Equalize the air pressure in the waste plumbing system. 2. Allow air to escape through the vent system for proper flow. 3. Vent sewer gases to escape outdoors. Test venting systems by operating fixtures and performing flow tests, observing irregularities such as gurgling sounds or detecting odors. Now let's have a look at vents. It's hard to see the venting system in a house, and while our discussion will focus on things that we can check, you should understand that there's a lot that you won't know about the venting system. Function. We should understand the functions of vents and how they can test for non-performance. The vent system on a house is designed to equalize the air pressure in the waste plumbing system. We talked about this a little earlier. The venting system should allow air to escape through the vent system so that waste can move through the pipes. Vents should also allow air to be drawn in to prevent a vacuum from forming. We don't want vacuums to form because we don't want the water to be siphoned out of traps. Some people think of venting systems as trap protectors. Venting also allows sewer gases to escape outdoors rather than fight their way through the water seal and into the house. Materials. Common venting piping materials include copper, galvanized steel, cast iron, and ABS or PVC plastic. Brass and lead can be used for venting but are not common. What you can see. In many houses, the only part of the venting system that you can see is the part that extends above the roof. You may be able to see vent piping in the attic, but usually can't see the individual vents and branch vents from fixtures. You may be able to see some of the vents in the basement or crawl space areas. Where there are plumbing fixtures in unfinished areas such as basements, you may see the vents for the fixtures there. For the most part though, the vent system is visible. Testing the vent system, or testing the venting system. As you flow water at each fixture and watch the functional drainage, you are also testing the venting system. As you watch the water drain out of the fixture, water should go down the drain with about the same noise level right to the end. If the last bit of water gurgles loudly, it's probably because air is being pulled through the water in the trap. This is siphoning the water out of the trap. This characteristic gurgling noise tells us that the venting system is not working. Unknown causes. You probably won't know if the venting system is incomplete, obstructed, undersized, flooded, poorly arranged, closed with frost, or not working for some other reason. But you do know that the venting system isn't your job. Toilet gurgle. The toilet is an exception. It is allowed to gurgle because it is a siphoning fixture. Flashing problems. Since the vent system extends through the roof of the house, we have to create a flashing detail where the pipe penetrates the roof covering. We talk about these in roofing module, so we won't go into a lot of detail here. We will, however, remind you that a roof leak at a vent flashing can look a whole lot like a plumbing leak as the water moves down through the house. Because of the surface tension, the water will cling to the outside of the stack until it hits an obstruction. This obstruction may be insulation, framing members, or drywall. Oh, I need to pour myself some more water. And obviously I already did the dishes tonight. That's when I had all those dark thoughts. So I got nothing else to do after this. You know, I thought, you know how my family despises me using the TV? It's not even just the TV, because sometimes I use my sister's laptop to HDMI to the TV to watch my shows. And, well, that's what they do too. My sister looks up their shows to watch. And, well, you know, if I try to use the laptop that my sister has to HDMI to the TV, she gets mad at me for doing that as well. Especially if it's during their time. But you know, during doing the dishes tonight, I thought to myself, ugh. But you know, my sister doesn't have the same issue that I do. My sister watches shows with my mom, and my dad too for the most part. Like, they have each other to watch with. You know, they watch together. Me on the other hand, no, I'm always alone. I always watch, you know, my plethora of entertainment by myself, and I have no one to go and discuss it with. I have no one to talk about it with. I have no one to enjoy it with. You know, you've heard a couple parts ago, I talked about all the good content coming out, and it's like, well, I just got to enjoy all of it alone. No one to watch it with, no one to talk to with it about. And for the most part, a lot of the movies, I'm just going to go to the theater by myself and watch them alone. Anyways, venting system. Common problems. Missing. Ineffective. Poor vent pipe arrangement. Too small or too large. Or too long. Island venting problems. Vent termination. Automatic air vents. Most of these have been discussed previously. We will have a closer look at some of them. Why did I read it like that? Okay. Venting system. Missing. Cause. Installation issue. I feel like I should get a t-shirt that says that at this point. Implication. Can result in poor drainage and siphoning of traps. Strategy. Look for vent piping projection through the roof. Venting system. Ineffective. Cause. Incomplete. Obstructed. Too small. Frost. Implication. Siphoning of traps caused by sewer odor. Strategy. Flow tests. Ugh, here's a picture of a pretty dirty looking attic. Vent extension often terminate in the attic. Wonder if there is sewer gases in the attic. You know, I sometimes wonder where my attic is. I think I know where the space to get to my house's attic is, but no one ever goes there. I think in the decade I've lived in this house, no one has even thought about going into the attic, if the spot I'm thinking of is the attic. I don't know, there could be a dead body in there for all we know, and we would not have ever known. I'm not gonna lie, I do want to, you know, I am curious, but like not curious to the point to checking it out, because it's probably dark in there, it's probably dirty, spider webs everywhere, and who knows, maybe some sort of like horror movie jump scare happens and I get got. And then literally no one sees me again. I'm reported missing. And no one even thinks about looking at the attic, because like none of us have ever been up there. Why would he randomly be up there, right? Anyways, another picture of a literal pipe sticking out of the floor. This should be higher. Often debris can get inside. Frost closure on top of the stack. Here's a close-up. Here's a close-up. Alright. Venting system. Too small or too long? Vent diameter to maximum vent length. So, 1 1/4 inch is 45 feet, 1 1/2 inch is 60 feet, 2 inches 120 feet, 2 1/2 inch is 180 feet, and 3 inch is 212 feet. I'll probably just finish this slide and call it. Vent piping can be undersized. Again, for the most part, you'll have trouble picking this up. In cold climates, the vent piping extending through the roof may have to be 3-inch diameter to avoid frost closure. In other areas, vent piping can be 1 1/2 inch or 2-inch diameter where it passes through the roof. The maximum vent size for any fixture is 1 1/4 inches. This is adequate for a 1 1/4 and a 1 1/2 inch trap. Anything larger, including a toilet, requires a 1 1/2 inch vent. Just as drain sizes get bigger as you go further downstream, so do vent pipes. The further away from the fixture we get, the larger the vent pipe should be. Vent pipes should never reduce in size. Causes. The causes of undersized venting or vent runs that are too long are installation issues. Implications. The implications of undersized or overly long venting are ineffective venting. Wow. Thanks. Strategy. Where you can see vents at fixtures, check their size. Where you can see the vent coming through the roof, make sure it's appropriate. Bracket. Normally 3 inches in cold climates and 1 1/2 inch. 2 or 2 1/2 inches in warmer climates where frost closure is not an issue. Alright, that's the last slide I'll go over. That is slide 57 of 96. Well, actually, this next slide is just a picture, and it says, short stack. Stack should be 6 to 12 inches tall. And the next slide is another picture, 5 feet high. This may be susceptible to frost closure. Alright, this is a truly last slide I'm going to go through, because it's the last one with a picture and one sentence, or actually two. Plumbing stack above the flat roof. In winter, the size can be reduced due to frost closure. Okay, and the next slide actually does have a lot to read, which will be slide 61 of 96. So, as I'm on my way to get this last Korok, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys out there are more mentally healthy than I am. Well, keep yourselves in good spirits out there, and I will see you guys next time.